Well, greetings everyone and welcome back to Learn Igbo channel. Today with me is a remarkable lady who, well, I'm going to let her introduce herself, but her name is Sola Njoku, and over the past few months, I've gotten to know her, and she's a very unique individual. So I'm going to hand over to Sola now. Sola, no.
My name is Sola Njoku. I am Yoruba, as you probably can tell from my name, but I'm married to an Igbo man. So I'm raising two children in the UK who are, who are bicultural in that sense, or maybe even tricultural, because obviously there's also the UK experience of living. And I have been involved since I've had my children, and my oldest is 7 and my youngest is 3, in teaching them how to speak Yoruba. And following up from that, I then decided to write a children's book, because I felt I also had the credentials to do that, being a journalist for a long time and a writer. So I decided to write my children's book. But taking into account my children's heritage, I decided not only to write it in Yoruba, but also to do an Igbo edition of the book using translators and just, really going in depth into translating words from English to Yoruba, as well as to Igbo. Yvonne here helped me a great deal in reviewing the book, and so I'm here to talk to her a bit more about my process. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So tell me more about your writing and journalistic background.
Okay, so I went to the University of Lagos. I studied mass communication. While I was there on internship, I worked with the Punch newspapers, and then I finished and continued working with the Punch. I've written for pretty much every newspaper there is to know in Nigeria. I've written for The Guardian, I've written for Next newspapers, which, I really enjoyed my experience there at the time. And then I came over to the UK to pursue a master's in international journalism. And while I was here, I continued writing for Next. I covered mostly, my area of expertise was cultural affairs and, literature, culture, and arts. So my niche has, all the while been in literary and arts journalism. While I was here in the UK, I worked at the BBC as a freelancer, and then I covered news and producing podcasts, getting out episodes of Focus on Africa. So yeah, that's pretty much been it until I decided to have a second child, and I thought I needed to have a bit of at least a pause in my career, because I wanted to do a good job of it. Particularly, I was very interested in teaching how to speak, because I tried initially with my son, and while he would pick up like greetings and some body parts and threats like, oh, wajegbadas, do you want me to cane you? He never really got into the speaking. So my time, spent at home with my daughter, as well as obviously COVID, helped me really, cement Yoruba speaking with her. And yeah, so right now I work as a freelance editor and a writer.
And just to show everyone what the book looks like. So this is
I've got my copy here too.
Yeah. So how many versions do you have of it?
So right now I've got 3. I'm trying to network with people to get a 4th version in place. So I have Yoruba, which came first because it came naturally to me. In fact, I think the book was written in Yoruba. I don't remember very well now, but I feel like I wrote it in Yoruba. I was writing Yoruba, English, but I have a feeling like in my thoughts it came first in Yoruba, which is slightly weird for me, because over time I've started thinking English rather than in Yoruba, as I used to when I was young. So afterwards, I then obviously wanted to do the Igbo too, because I knew that if I was going to have a Yoruba edition, I was going to have an Igbo one, because I wanted it to be reflective of my children's cultures and obviously my intermarriage as well. So I did that with the help translated by a good friend of mine, Mordi Mora. He was actually the person who challenged me to do it, because I said, I'd like to write a children's book, and I'd like to do it in Igbo. And it's like, yeah, definitely go for it. I wish my children would have books like that to to learn from. And he offered himself up to translate it for me. we worked closely as well with my mother-in-law, who's from Imo State, and yeah, as well as yourself towards the final process. So yeah, that's where that came from. And then the third edition was also a challenge by other sets of friends, and they said, why is it that people always just release books in Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa, the three main languages? Why not Urobo? Because they happen to be Urobo people. And I'm like, well, it's not that I can't, but I don't know how much readership there will be out there and how interested people will be. But they, kept on me, and they decided to do a community funding to produce an Urobo edition, and we have. So I have that as well. And the names on the books are reflective of the characters and the culture I'm trying to portray. So this one is Zim Nazaram Naganugo. And my children happen to those are their names. And then the Yoruba edition is Moyo Atikanyi Losioko. And those are their Yoruba names.
And their Yoruba names, yeah.
And so now it seems like my children have been rechristened Essay and
Yoruba names.
Yoruba version, and they very happily accept it.
Wow. Okay, and I love it, the fact that it's so colorful. That was the first thing that struck me. And the illustrator, this style of illustration is so beautiful. And why I love these books is we're kind of changing the narrative. And there's a severe lack of, books like this for children. And so what challenges did you have with, producing it? Like having, if for moms out there that want to do something like that, what kind of push? Because I know sometimes when you're doing a project like that, halfway you start doubting yourself. But then, because personally, I have like tons of half-finished books, some storybooks that I'm like, oh, I'll do it someday. So what was the final push that made you finish? And
this is going to sound quite cliche, but the final push, I imagine, was COVID. In fact, it was birthed during COVID. So I'd always taught my children and Yoruba, and I knew there was a really, a dearth of good resources out there. So I'd often just lamented it, like, oh, why can't people do better? And sometimes you'd see things even written by maybe white people would be really grammatically incorrect. Yes. And you'd be like, surely we have people that can do this. But somehow I never thought I would do it, which is weird because I'm a writer, but I never thought to do it. And then during COVID, I had to shield at home. And as a result, I guess I just had spare time on my hands, and I wrote the manuscript. And I remember I wrote it within like 30 minutes, but afterwards I shoved it in the drawer thinking, okay, yeah, now how am I ever going to find someone to illustrate it for me? So I shoved it there, sat there for months, and although it was still, something I thought, okay, now having written a manuscript, I would want to do it. But, I didn't quite know how to go about finding an illustrator because I was really particular about the kind of illustration I want. Yes. As you mentioned, it's very colorful. I wanted it to really appeal to children. So it was just serendipity in a sense, because the illustrator I eventually got is my cousin. Oh. And he's a really good, fantastic guy.
Yes, I like the style. Yeah.
He actually has done some big projects like working with UNICEF. I think he also illustrated some graphic novel for El Nathan John or someone, and also is
I know El Nathan. Yeah.
Currently other big projects as well. Yeah, something on about Macaulay Street or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, he illustrated that. So it was New Year's, and I'd called my auntie and my cousin to speak with them, and somehow we're chatting, and I was telling them, though, I wrote this thing for children, and they mentioned I was an illustrator, and I thought, oh, okay, that's my cousin. I had lost touch with him over the years, and so I reached out to him, and yeah, I think the book was just meant to happen, because if it was down to me, probably would still be sat in the drawer now while I was trying to research illustrators on Fiverr. But yeah, that's how it came to.
Yeah, and there's this thing about when you've done something and you're about to birth it to the world. So a part of you is like wants to hold on to it, and you don't want people to criticize it or Yeah, but well done, honestly. And I'm going to read some pages out
Oh,
of it.
please. I'd love to hear it read properly because I read it, but I'm sure I read it really badly.
And I love the way, it says, this book belongs to. Yeah, because children really love that, that sense of ownership and writing their names.
As well as the little trick with the, can you spot something on the page?
Yes, like this one. This one says, "Inwerike ichota ngwere dị na eserese niile." So can you spot the lizard in every picture? So it's quite interactive as well. So it's not just reading the book. The book encourages them to, do some activities as well. Yeah. So I'm going to read the first 3 pages. I don't want to read all of it, so people can go and get the book if they want to. Yeah, but it's those kind of books that, children love repetition. So the more they read, the more they, assimilate the language. Yeah. So I'm going to start now. Zaram Nazim bụ nwanne. Kedu? Zaram bụ nwanne nwoke nke nnukwu. Zim bụ nwanne nwanyị nke obere. Adị m afọ atọ. I jumped one. From Zaram, adị m afọ asaa. And that's this page. So I'm going to stop now. And now we'll talk about how to get it across to people. So before we start with that, what's next?
Well, like I said, next I'm trying to get it out in Hausa, and I'm sort of trying to network that because I feel like it really should cover the 3 main languages. And to be honest, I would like to have it in 20, 40 different editions because I feel like all our African languages need intervention, and we need a lot more cooperation to get things started, or at least to keep that progress going, because the progress has started with people like you as well as other people who have taken it upon themselves to like produce Igbo, Yoruba, Urobo programming on YouTube and through other ways. So I think that it's something that we definitely want to keep going, get out in as many languages as possible. But I do also have other manuscripts that I'm thinking of working on as well. So I'm really, very ambitious about how far I want this to go, as every writer would be. And particularly, I just wanted to reach children because I purposely didn't want to write a textbook, because with all the knowledge I had and I gained, even as I was trying to teach my kids, I was doing lots of research and, picking up even more language knowledge. I didn't want to put it in textbook form because I wanted it to be attractive to children. So I thought there's a way to pass on these same messages, teach them these same things in a way that will be very, that they will be attracted to, that will be relatable to them. Exactly. Mm. So that's why I decided to do Storybook. And I think I'll probably continue in that way because I find that even I enjoy novels a lot more than I enjoy reading textbooks. It's not that I do not read textbooks or academic books, but if you put something in the context of fiction, for me, I enjoy it a lot more, even though I'm gaining exactly the same knowledge as I would. So,
I mean, the essence of the power of stories, because even before formal education started, people, societies taught through stories.
Exactly.
Example, the holy books you have in all the faiths use stories to teach.
Yes. So stories have always been something that's very, always we've relied on the power of stories.
Stories. But unfortunately, schools or education seems to have lost the plot in using stories to teach. For example, in teaching Igbo, I only use stories when I'm teaching Igbo language. And some people keep saying, oh, where's the verb? Where's the, the noun, the adjective, the this, the that? And I'm like, it's in there, but it's not, you don't learn grammar until you started your intermediate.
Exactly, yeah. Because so you need to start at beginner's level first.
Yeah, we all started learning. A 2-3-year-old learning English wouldn't start with the verbs and...
No, not at all. Yeah.
They only start
And they're
learning
meant to go through that process of speaking it wrongly, and then they realize, I think that's why it becomes intuitive how sentences are constructed when you're speaking it and you continue speaking it. Then it's afterwards that you start breaking it down after you've attained a level of, a level of knowledge of the language, that you can start breaking it down. Okay, this is subject, verb, object, predicate, this. Yeah, so definitely I wanted to start with something accessible, something readable, something a parent will be able to sit a child down on their lap and say, okay, let's read this. And as well as something that had activities and questions, glossary of words as well. So I try to put everything I had into it.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. And as I said before, the color was the first thing that hit me between the eyes. I know children react so much to color.
Oh, they love it. Yeah.
Yeah, they really, really love it. So where would we find your book?
Okay, so it's available on Amazon worldwide. That's where most people get it from. If you're in the UK, you can get it directly from me. I have a PayPal on my Instagram account, link. So you can just go there and put in an order. My name on Instagram is Yoruba Mama. Or Yoruba Mama, however, yes. So thank you very much.
I'll put the links on the description, and then it should be showing on the screen now as well.
Okay, that's great. Yes. And also, this is not to say it's only for children in diaspora. It was conceived here, and I did write it for my children and other kids like them who are learning languages in a bit of a vacuum, not really, they can't really access the knowledge that is back in Nigeria. But I found that it's very useful in Nigeria as well, because guess what? Sadly, we're losing that practice of speaking Yoruba, Igbo, the languages to our children in Nigeria. All they're learning is English. And now I find that my friends who live in Nigeria are saying, oh my goodness, your child can speak Yoruba. How did you do it? And I'm like, how are you not doing it? So yeah, so it's available in Nigeria as well at Bookworm Cafe in Ilupeju, Lagos. So you can get
Bookworm Cafe, Ilupeju, Lagos. So for people in Lagos or people in Nigeria, there's a physical place where you can actually buy it at the Bookworm Cafe at Ilupeju, Lagos.
And I'm currently as well working on links, trying to get it out in ebook form. I've talked to you a bit about the challenges of Kindle, so we're trying to find other means. But as soon as I am able to work out how to provide them in ebook form, I will be communicating that to people.
Yes, unfortunately, because once the Kindle scanner notices that there's a language that that don't approve, like Igbo, Yoruba, they just block it. So until that changes,
that's what we're facing.
Yeah, that's one of the challenges we're facing. I've written to Amazon, and so far they haven't done much about it, but we keep pushing. Yeah,
of course we do. Yeah. We have to.
Thank you so much, Shola. You're such an inspiration, and you've actually made me start thinking of revisiting my dusty cupboard of unfinished books.
Please bring them out, and let us all have the benefit of them, because it's important. Like, I think this book could have still been sat somewhere, but now it's out there, available for anyone.
And once the first one is out, you get more, because I keep getting people tagging me from books I wrote 6 years ago, and like, we want more.
Yeah, so please give us more.
To tell them, there's another one, you go buy it.
And you're such a language expert as well, like all your, when I brought the almost completed draft to you, and the way you really went through it and suggested changes, that I really found that really helpful, because I was very, very, like, it was important to me for me to put out something of quality. So I really needed experts' views from people who know the language as well as you to contribute. And I'm glad that you were very generous in giving of yourself.
I was so happy to see it. And I mean, you're such an inspiration, because no one can say that language is a barrier from them writing any book, because once you bring out that idea, anyone can have it in any format you want, and you've just proven it. Yeah.
And it's important to, realize that you have your limitations, but there are always people out there you can collaborate with. So
Oh, yes.
I'm constantly preaching it, like, as language, people who are trying to, promote language and culture, we need to be really collaborative, first of all, to ensure that we're putting out like something that's coherent, because if you're using this word and I'm using that word, the language is not gaining that,
Traction.
that reinforcement it should be getting. So we really should, try and find a consensus, as well as work with other people to put out quality products.
Yes, and also networking. That's one thing our people are so bad at. When someone brings out something, people need to work together to push things out.
Yeah.
And support. A lot of our people will now say, "Oh, wonderful book."
Yeah.
But they won't actually dip into their pockets to support that writer.
To support it, or even share it with friends.
Or share with friends.
Yeah,
so we please buy this book. And this is a fantastic. Who needs another toy? This is better than any toy out there that you can buy for kids, because after 5 minutes, or else you have 3 aunties or 5 aunties buying the exact same toy. And you get flogged on eBay. So, but if you get books for them, they read it. And it also fosters that family bonding time, because you learn along with your child as well.
Exactly. And even if they're not speaking the language, they'll probably pick up a few words from it. And even if and also they will just that language just carries with it culture. So even that exposure to culture, even just knowing the names, or just seeing how things might look in a different setting, I think it's important. So it's always cultural knowledge, and that's never useless.
Definitely. And just before we finish, I wanted to touch on something that I noticed when I was looking at some of the words in the book that Modi used. I won't say street words, but these are words that we use on a day-to-day basis. And like the formal written Igbo that you see in books. So I love the way he wove, the regular inflections and the regular street words that we use that you wouldn't necessarily see in a strict textbook. And with that, when I saw it, I just said, no, this has to be left the way it is, because that way, when children read that, they remember hearing their parents saying those exact things. And, it just becomes a clincher in them, kind of learning the language and assimilating it.
Honestly,
so that's what makes the book so
contribution was just I can't even like, I couldn't pay for it, and I didn't. So that it was even like he did it pro bono. What is is such an inspiration, is in the medical field, but his language knowledge is fantastic and amazing.
It is fantastic, and that's the reason. Once he told me, I said, "Oh, bring it," because I know Modi doesn't deal with nonsense.
And it gave it so much time, and we had lots of Zoom calls to discuss. We discussed really lots of things, all the language peculiarities I was facing with Yoruba, and many of them also came through in Igbo as well. So there was a lot of similarity in
so many, like I think in Yoruba, goat is ewure, yeah.
Exactly, and even the colors, like, they are very descriptive. So Modi was saying, oh, green, we wouldn't say, like, there's nothing green, it'd be descriptive, like the color of leaves. And I'm like, exactly, that's what it is in Yoruba. So there were many similarities, even things like onion, really, I think they all derived from Hausa language, because in Yoruba we call it alubosa. In we
call it alubasa as well.
Eventually used yabasi, but I know that it can
yabasi,
also be
alubasa. Yeah, my grandmother says alubasa.
Yes, so there are very many similarities. Honestly, we're a lot more similar than we're different.
We're a lot more similar. A few years ago, at the Igbo conference I organized, we had the head of Department of Yoruba, University of London. He came and he gave a whole talk on, Yoruba names and Igbo names that were similar or come from the same root, and it was shocking. Yeah. So, but you know how it is. People keep celebrating the differences instead of the the similarities.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I feel like I want this to be like a pan-Nigerian effort, because I'm passionate about, yes, about Yoruba, promoting Yoruba culture, but essentially promoting all cultures and, helping people realize that cultures are to be preserved and they're very important. So, I will always be interested in a culture project, however, whatever language it is about or whatever, culture it is. So I think it's important that we all understand that this thing is sort of like it's a thing that we all have to do together. It's not like, oh, Igbo people, Yoruba people, it can be very collaborative and it'll probably work best if it is.
So guys, you've heard it. Shola is open for collaborations.
Yay!
Quality collaborations. So we don't want.
Of course, having dealt with people like you, Yvonne, I cannot do quality. I started with quality, so why you are Modi? So.
Thank you. But Modi, you really hit gold by having Modi work on your book.
Oh yes, I know that. I know that every day. I know, and you too. You too.
Yeah, thank you so much. So remember, everyone, you go to Yoruba Mama on Instagram and then on Amazon worldwide for the book Zim Nazaram na Gubo. Zim and Zaram visit the farm. So, but I'll put like I said, the links are below on the description and on the screen as well. So thank you so much, Shola.
Thank you very much, Yvonne, for having me.
I can't wait to see what you do with this, and I cannot wait to see the next book.
Oh, thank you very much. And I can't wait to see your next book too, because I'll be holding you to that now.
Please do. Yeah. Thank you so much. If you haven't yet subscribed to Learn Igbo channel, click the subscribe button. And of course, if you like this, click the like button, and please share this the link to this video with your friends and family. But most of all, get the book. You can't get there's no rule that you have to get one. You can get about 3, 4, 5. Please, and then use them as birthday presents, Christmas presents, or just because present. And that you'll be given the gift of the Igbo language to a child that you know, or even an adult, because I've read the book twice now. Thank you so much, Shola. And have a lovely, lovely day.
Me too, Yvonne. Thank you. Bye, guys. Everyone. Thank you very much for watching and for listening.
Thank you.